The phone rang at 2 a.m., sharp and wrong, slicing through the quiet like it knew it didn't belong, and when he saw the name on the cracked screen, a name he had never saved and never expected to see, Daniel almost let it die in the dark. His daughter stirred in her sleep, her small hand tightening around the corner of the blanket, and for a heartbeat he chose silence. Then the call rang again, louder somehow, more urgent, and a voice he didn't recognize whispered his name as if the night itself had learned it. "Please," the woman said, breath uneven, "I think I made a mistake, but I don't know who else to call." Daniel had learned long ago that life rarely asked politely. He was 34, a widowed single father who worked late shifts fixing delivery vans, hands always smelling faintly of oil no matter how much he washed them. The number that called him had been meant for someone else, an assistant, a driver, a security contact, but somehow it reached him instead, a man who lived in a narrow apartment above a closed grocery store. The woman on the other end explained in fragments: a stalled car outside the city, a dead phone charger, a night that felt unsafe not because of danger, but because of loneliness. Daniel told her she had the wrong number. He told her he was nobody important. He told her it was late. She went quiet, and in that quiet he heard something he recognized too well, the sound of someone realizing they were truly alone. He looked at his daughter again, sleeping with complete trust in a world that had already taken too much from them. He thought of the nights after his wife passed, when grief sat beside him like a stranger who refused to leave, and how one small kindness, a neighbor bringing soup, a coworker staying late, had kept him standing. So he asked the woman where she was. He dressed quietly, left a note on the table, and stepped into the night with no idea that this wrong call was about to rearrange his entire life. When he reached the roadside cafe where she waited, lights flickering like tired eyes, he almost turned back. She didn't look like someone who would ever need him. Clara Vale was 29, the sole heiress to a family whose name lived on glass buildings and charity wings. Her coat was elegant, her posture controlled, but her eyes betrayed exhaustion deeper than any long shift. She thanked him with careful politeness, as if kindness were something she had learned from books instead of people. During the quiet drive, she asked nothing about him, and he asked nothing about her. Yet something fragile filled the space between them, not romance, not destiny, but recognition. The next days were a blur of unexpected messages. Clara apologized again for the call, offered money he refused, then asked if he might help with something small, finding a local repair shop, explaining how to navigate the city without an assistant. Daniel kept his distance, but he didn't disappear. He answered when she asked. He showed up when others delegated. And when she learned he had a daughter, something softened in her that no boardroom ever had. Trouble came as it always does, quietly at first. Clara's world didn't understand Daniel. Advisors warned her about appearances. Friends suggested he was using her. Daniel heard the whispers too, felt the weight of being out of place in rooms with polished floors and quiet judgment. One night, overwhelmed, he tried to step back, telling Clara she deserved people who fit her life. She listened without interrupting, then asked him a question no one had asked her before: what if I don't want the life that fits? What if I want the one that feels real? The breaking point arrived when Daniel's daughter fell ill and he missed an important event Clara was hosting. The media noticed. The rumors sharpened. Daniel expected anger. Instead, Clara showed up at the hospital with soup and a book and no cameras. She sat beside his daughter's bed and read softly, not as an heiress, but as a woman who had finally found somewhere she was allowed to be quiet. By the end of the chapter of their lives, Daniel understood something he had resisted since the phone rang that night. Showing up wasn't about courage, it was about choosing connection over comfort. And Clara understood that love didn't arrive in grand entrances, but in small, stubborn acts that refused to leave. The morning Daniel decided to walk away for good, convinced that loving her meant letting her go, Clara stopped him at the door with a single sentence that changed the weight of the air: everyone stays because they have to, no one stays because they want to. Will you? The question wasn't dramatic. It wasn't rehearsed. But it carried the echo of every night she had felt unseen, every room where she had been admired but not known. Their challenges didn't vanish. Daniel still struggled with pride and fear, with the sense that he was borrowing a life that wasn't his. Clara still faced expectations that pulled her in 1,000 directions. They argued. They failed. They learned. Daniel learned to accept help without shame. Clara learned to set boundaries without apology. Slowly, deliberately, they built something that wasn't a fairy tale, but was stronger than one. When Clara asked him to stay forever, it wasn't on a knee or under lights. It was in the kitchen, early morning, his daughter laughing at a spilled glass of milk. "Stay," she said simply, voice steady, eyes hopeful. Daniel didn't answer right away. He looked at the life forming around him, imperfect and alive, and realized that the wrong call had been the most accurate moment of his life. He stayed, not because he was rescued, not because he was chosen for his struggle, but because love had recognized him when he least expected it. And in staying, he taught his daughter, and perhaps himself, that sometimes destiny doesn't knock politely, it dials the wrong number at 2 a.m., and waits to see if you're brave enough to answer.